Hey loves, how y'all doing tonight? Sorry I'm a little late trying to get some stuff together. Of course, I'm always pushing it to the limit. And Darlene, I'm pulling up your images right now, love. And I think these photos are gorgeous. Let's see how they work out. And Darlene, remind me, which template are we working with on this one? Hey Tanya, how you doing, love? Vegan Life, what's up? Velo, I got your email too, so we're gonna get a little bit of Mother's Day love going on in just a minute. Let me pour me some water so I won't be coughing all over y'all. Ooh. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, love. Oh yes, the Stairway to Heaven. Absolutely. So let me find that file. And meanwhile, we'll go ahead and pull up Remove BG so we can see about removing this background. If we have any issues, then we'll do it manually. Can y'all hear me okay? Gotcha. So we're doing this more as a Mother's Day than a remembrance. I got you. And then D, we're going to end up doing this one as a 13 by 19, correct? Got you. All right. Let's bring in the photos and see what they do tonight. First, let me log in so I can go ahead and use the credits if the images are high enough resolution. All right. That actually worked out pretty well. So that's one. Let's see, two. She's going to love this. And we'll see if we can clean up this little crack right here in the photo. But these look good. See, darling, you did all right. You picked some good ones. See, 1 and 2. Alright, and I can't multitask. I was supposed to also been opening up the stairway template. Now, I know you have the all over version and we're working with the 13 by 19. So I'll also give you this 13 by 19 version too. So you'll have both already optimized for the smaller print size. So it just won't be so large for no reason. And I might be missing some fonts on here, but if I am, then I will just have to show y'all how to get those fonts. Because I end up switching computers sometimes, so I have to update my fonts. Okay. So let's see. D. Oh, you have that shoe? Oh, okay. Oh, she's gonna love this. The photo with him and her then. Yeah, I think this will be a very touching Mother's Day gift for her. Let's see. Let's go ahead and right click on our beautiful photo here. And we're gonna disable it. Turn it off. Now, do you want me to put wings on Dad? You know, so that it looks like he has the wings and he's kind of like looking over her? Or do you want to just put like the photos and no wings at all? That way it doesn't have any, you know, any kind of connotation of a remembrance shirt. And while I'm waiting on that answer, let me go ahead and go to my files. And I'm just going to drag straight from my folder. I'm selecting both photos and I'm going to drag them in and drop them. Here's 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and resize on this one. Now we probably will only end up using like the profile part of the image. So what we can do is while we're here, go ahead and use our layer mask, grab our paintbrush using black, and I'm going to hold down Alt. Oh, let me show y'all my little shortcuts. I forgot to cut this on again. Okay, so I'm doing Control Alt and then I'm right clicking. And it will allow me to change the size of the brush when I go left and right and change the hardness when I go up and down. So I got me a nice big soft brush. And I'm just brushing on the layer mask, just so that I don't see any of those hard lines anywhere where the photo cuts off. Perfect. And Darlena. Now let me know if the video is skipping or having issues. Let me know. I might have to shut some things down. As a matter of fact, I'll shut down the Facebook for now and my email. Okay, gotcha. All right, so let's go ahead and let's disable. I think we have some wings on here we need to disable, and also the halo. And we're just right clicking and finding like here is halo. I try to label these things so that when I'm right clicking I can see what I'm clicking on. And what's up, Aisha? Darlena, what text do you want on here? Like what words do you want it to say at the top here? I'll call that one Mom, and then this one will be Mom and Dad. And we're going to have to fade off this picture as well so that we don't have those hard lines. So we're going to add a layer mask, grab a paintbrush, and on the layer mask we're just painting with black to conceal. That way they look nice and faded into the background. Forever and always. And you know what? forever. And do capital A for always. And let's see, does this one have an ampersand? I think you want to spell out and or put the ampersand sign. I'll let you think about that for a moment. Established 1953. Yeah, she would love that. EST 1953. And let me know if I misspell anything or mistype anything. And I think I might put it like right around there. Ampersand, gotcha. And let me see what it looks like if I make this ampersand just a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to remove the space after it. There we go. And then let's take our watermark images. And we'll turn those off. So it kind of looks more like a prom picture. You want me to take the doves off too? And there might be a little bit of a delay, so I'm frequently checking back with you just in case I do something you need me to change. Okay. Okay, leave them for him. Gotcha. Now, which photo do you want to be the focal, or do you want to just do the mom and dad pic? So we can do, you know, mom up front, and then the couple photo with mom and dad. We can kind of, honestly, then we don't have to fix the photo if we put the words in front of it. But we could bring down the opacity for the image so that it looks more like the past than the present. You let me know how you feel about that. So that's opacity taken down for the background image, and then mom is here in the foreground. Gotcha, gotcha. See, I'm reading your mind. And looks like I need to do a little bit of cleaning up right here on the side. I see a little bit of that harsh line. That means I need to go back to my layer mask, grab my paintbrush, and paint with a little black. Just go ahead and soften that up a little bit. Alright, I think we're good on that. Now, what color scheme do you want to go with? Right now we got a pink and blue. Is there any particular color you want to do for her? Okay, so we're going to keep the metallic gold. Now, what about the background image? Do you want that to be kind of like a goldish color? I can't make it metallic, but I can make it like a Vegas color. And for instance, let's see, this is our foreground clouds. Turn the pink off. And let's play with the middle ground here. We have a color overlay. I'll show you an example. Vegas gold is kind of like a grayish kind of gold. So that's what the gold color would end up looking like. I got you. Okay, good deal. And let's see, got it on normal. I'm going to play with the blend mode for just a second to see if I get a little bit different effect with the gold. Lighten. Screen, I think, does really well. Makes it look real soft and makes it look like it's a part of the image. And then what about the background with the stair and the moon and stars are? Do you want to keep that blue, or do you want to make that gold as well? I'm just copying this hex code here just in case we want to make it gold, and I'll show you what that looks like. Layer, new fill layer, we'll do a solid color. And then we'll play with this blend mode to see what we want it to do. And I'm thinking it's going to be hue or color. That'll keep it gold. And then we can do a layer, new adjustment layer. Let's do a level layer here. So if we need to see a little more detail or a little less detail, we can play with the highlights, shadows, and the midtones here. Looks a little blown out. I'm just trying to make it look not so dark, but you can still tell. I want you to still be able to tell that it has the stars and stuff there. How is that for you? With the gold background. And then also, good. What do you want to, do you want to put mom's name on here, or do you want to put mom and dad's name and then put the last name? So since that's forever and always. Or we can do Mr. and Mrs. I'll show you what that looks like. And take these spaces out. I know spaces are necessary, but this font in particular has a little too much space. So I'm going to take that one out. And then for this one, it's going to bring it in negative 150, negative 200. Oops. There we go. And we can copy and paste from Forever and Always. Since we already like the gold tone, we can just copy that layer style and paste that layer style on Mr. and Mrs. Let's paste it. There we go. Oh, I see you said you do want to put mom and dad. And what's the last name? Now, is this a shirt for mom, or is this a shirt? Because if it's a shirt for mom, she might not want it to say mom and dad. That's just, I don't know. I guess, when you're a mom, you kind of, and a dad, you refer to yourself as mom and dad. So I'm sure that works too. Mom and dad. Oh, okay. You did want to put the name. I was like, do you want to put mom and dad? I was taking you a little literal there. So we'll put and see Sarah and okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Thank you. Sarah and Frank, and then last name we'll do Williams. And this font has a weird eye. Let me see if there's a alternative eye for that. If not, because this font is like, it's called Alien Font or something like that. It's got a weird eye. Wait, there is an alternative eye. If it'll let me use it. Oh, it looks alternative, but it shows up. Yeah, because that should be, oh, I know what it is. We're in all caps probably. Knowing me, I'm in all caps. I betcha. Yep, I'm on all caps. Here it is. So I guess the capital I is the weird one. And then the capital A is the one with the line in it. Yeah, I picked some weird fonts, so y'all will appreciate it eventually. Oh, Veronica, you good, babe? We are working on Darlene's. We're almost done. And then we'll get started on yours next. So what you think, Darlene? What's up? How you feel about it? Oh, no worries, love. I'm always a little bit late. I'm late, but always worth the wait. And at least that's what I tell myself to feel good about being late everything. All right, let me zoom up a little bit, make sure everything looks good. What you thinking, love? What you want to put on there? Yeah, that's, and you know what? I didn't even come up with that. I told somebody one time that I was always late, and then they actually complimented me and said I was always worth the wait because I'm always doing something extra for everybody. That's what it is. I'm usually late because I'm pushing to the limit. I promise you. You want to do something to make the font stand out? Do you want to do a color, or what are you thinking? Now I can do maybe some roses down here, something to make it kind of stand out. Now, let's say for the last name, since we're doing the gold for the first name, let's do, if you want to change this up, and I'm going to just duplicate this, so just in case we go back to the original, I haven't lost it. So I'll go to my effects, and because we're dealing with light colors, I'm going to add contrast to the Williams. So we'll do a color overlay. And let it be black, and I think right now I have my fill all the way down, so I'm going to turn my fill up. And then we'll do a little bit of playing here with the stroke. So that's my goal right now. It's on the inside. Let me bring it to the outside. I can take off my second black stroke and bring down my white stroke and bring down this drop shadow a little bit. And then this way it gives us like an alternate look with the black text versus the black outline text. So it's like one is inverse. And then we can, even if you want the name to stand out a little bit more, we can do a different font, maybe something that has a little bit of thickness to it, so it looks nice and bold. And let me go back to changing it to all caps. And let's see. I'll tell you like that one. Which one? The where it was black with the thinner font, or I go through all of these fonts and everybody's that looks at the fonts like, yeah, that one that says sample. I don't know if I've told y'all that before, but yeah, they all say sample, and then the name of the font is on the left hand side. So if you see a name of font that you like if I'm scrolling by, I know it kind of has a delay, and I have about 2,000 fonts on here. I'm trying to find something elegant but still substantial, so that we want something that contrasts against that script. So if the first name is script and kind of dainty, then we need something a little more substantial for the last name. And that American Captain works too. It's actually like, the Captain America kind of font, but it has like a designed look while it's still pretty bold. So let me know if that one works for you. Yeah, I'm thinking sans serif as well. And sans serif is a font that doesn't have the feet on it. So when you see a letter M, for example, and it has the feet at the bottom, those are serifs. If it's a sans serif, that means it's without the serif. So that means it's without the little feet. So those fonts are usually cleaner, more streamlined. Sometimes the serif fonts work well with the script. If y'all have seen the mom design with the handwritten names on top of it, some of them use a serif font, but it's a really thin, elegant serif font, and then the script text is layered on top of it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're good on this one. So we got the Williams, the pop. I don't know, I like to layer stuff just because anytime I can make something look like you can't do it in vinyl, or it'd be too hard to do it in vinyl, I like to kind of show off with sublimation. What color do you want to do? Like white flowers, or do you want me to bring some flowers in that are like I can change the colors of them? As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do a little searching. Instead of just pulling from my resources, I'm going to show y'all, white roses. Or does she have another favorite flower? And while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to see if I can find some PNG. And I have a few here. And I'm going against my rules because typically before I even look for images, I will check the size, make sure I find large size images. And then if I do pick different roses, I want to make sure that they look similar. Like I don't want one that looks, this one looks drawn or illustrated, and then this one is a photo, so I don't, and sometimes you'll find them, there'll be faux flowers and real flowers. And if you can tell, then don't do it. But these are a good resolution here. So I'll go with these two and we'll pull them right in. Y'all, is it my connection? Are y'all experiencing any kind of buffering right now, or is it just maybe the connection for Darlene? Let me know, and I'm gonna close down what I can close down. And if I go ahead and close down my Internet Explorer, just in case that's weighing things down. Okay. So I'm going to, okay. Just let me know if it's something I can do, y'all. Let me know, because I'll just be on here talking and ranting and, you know, just like I'm talking to myself. It is not that uncommon. All right, so there's one and there's two. Now, and the roses have like a kind of ivory look to them, so I really like that. But if we want to make them stark white, we can. But I like the kind of off-white look to them. And all I'm doing is doing Control T so I can transform, changing the size of the image here. That way we give a little bit of visual interest. And I like to layer things too. So I'm kind of layering that leaf over the S just a little bit. And let's say I want this one over to the right to look a little more layered. I can grab that one. Alt is going to create a duplicate. But what I'm going to do so it doesn't look exactly the same, I'm going to bring it underneath my big one. And Control T, it's going to allow me to rotate it. And then that way, I kind of make it look like it's a different setup. Change that size a little bit. I'm trying to see, do I want more roses or less roses to show? I think I like more of the white showing for this one. Y'all see how I can be picky, be hard on myself? Okay, so now it looks like different roses on each end, but they still kind of flow and go together. And let me go back to my feed. Awesome. And just so you know, if we wanted to brighten these up, I'm going to show y'all real quick. If we want to make them white, right now they have a little yellow in them. So if I go to, I have them grouped. If I go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and I go to Hue Saturation, I'm going to clip this hue saturation, create a clipping mask, and clip it just to that folder. And then that way I can lighten the whole image up. Or I can go to, I'm going to assume those are yellows. I can go to my yellows, bring down the saturation, and look how it just brightened that white right up. And you can also do the same thing with the reds. I'm sure there's some reds in there. Bring them down, and you see the center. You can crank it all the way up if you really want to see what's going on with that color. So now we have white roses. So you let me know, the off-white or the white roses. And then that should be good. And I know you mentioned something about letting the off-white, got you. Let me go back to my roses there. And I'm going to name this for you. It'll be called Roses. And we'll just turn off that hue saturation layer. Hey, Danica, tell Mr. Get Hooked that I said thank you. We did a, he might be here tonight. Are you here? I didn't see him in the comments yet. But yeah, we did a image for him yesterday with his beautiful mother. So we're just continuing that tradition. Maybe we'll do things like that for the holiday. Hopefully I can do it more ahead of time and not necessarily the night before. But hey, this is how I've been living on the edge. Okay. Yay, I'm glad you like the flowers too, Veronica. Yes, it's sometimes when somebody says something's missing, don't get aggravated. Like, just, offer a suggestion, because the last thing you want to do is let a customer like mind go wild and you have an idea. So use your ideas. It makes the design process smoother, and it instills the confidence that client has in you as a designer when you immediately say something that maybe they weren't thinking about, but just really gives them the answer they were looking for. Awesome sauce. Okay. All right, so then we can go ahead and get started on Veronica. So let me save this one. File, save as. And I be tripping, y'all, because I was supposed to then save that. Darlena. And I'll put that in my client files, and I'll send that to you when we're done tonight, Darlena. So as a matter of fact, as soon as that saves, remind me because it takes about 5 minutes to upload to the Google Drive, and I can go ahead and send you that file, because I know you have to get this going so that you can finish getting things together. All right, I'm glad you like it. Okay, so let's go on to the next project. So the next project we're going to do in Affinity. So I'm going to shut down Photoshop. And this one's going to be for Veronica. You're welcome, love. You're absolutely welcome. And thank you. Thank you for helping me troubleshoot today. Thank you for being patient and kind. Y'all don't know how much I appreciate y'all for working with me. I know these are some trying times on these internets. And you all have been trusting me and helping me troubleshoot, especially with something as far as like how payments process on the website. So y'all know I truly appreciate you for that, and it does not go unnoticed. All right, so let's open Affinity Photo Mom. And we're doing this one, right? Because we were going to basically redo this style to make it mimic the Photoshop version that it destroyed when we opened it in Affinity. So we got it about halfway there. So this makes sense because we're going to redo the photos. And yeah, Danica, this is Mr. Get Hooked's mom. Whenever you're ready to do that, love, whenever you need a one-on-one session, I have it set up on the website where you can go to, let me show you real quick if we don't end up with any issues. And y'all keep in mind I'm still working on it. You'll see my new little template. So this template is supposed to not lag the site so much. But if you go to Design and Print Services, you'll see that, and I haven't added a little logo here yet, but there'll be one for a one-on-one private session, and then this is for custom designs. If y'all ever need PNGs made, you can go to the custom design, you can show me which template you want, and pretty much we'll do this type of deal where you get to see it designed and proof it live. Oh, you're welcome, love. You are absolutely welcome. I appreciate you all being here too, because it helps me to figure out what y'all want to learn. So yeah, that's how you do your one-on-one private session. You'll request your date and time, and then any files that you want to upload. We do one image on the template. Every additional image, I say, is $5. That way it keeps people from sending me a whole bunch of photos to do for a session. But if you already have your photos ready, then I don't charge anything extra. So if you already have them cut out from Remove BG and they're ready to go, and all we have to do is focus on maybe cleaning up or changing one image, then that one image is included, and then you just tell me what template. So you'll screenshot which template you want, and we'll do a session. Now, if it's something that's not a template and you just want to make something up, or you saw something that you want to design, we can do a live design. But let me tell you, editing a template, probably, if you're new to Photoshop, probably takes you about an hour to learn it top to bottom. So if you want to design something fresh and new, it's probably going to be a 2-hour session. But you may, you get some artwork out of it, you get some experience out of it. I just want to be realistic and transparent with you all. So that's up for y'all. Had to give my little plug there. And let's get back to the affinity. So let's see what Veronica sent me. I got to go back to my mail now, so let me know if I start lagging. Alright. And Veronica, I say I got lots of photos. Oh, you have such a beautiful family. And happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to both of you, and to all of you who are here tonight, who are mothers or moms in other capacities. So I'm like a mom of the neighborhood. So I tell people all the time, I don't have biological children, but I got kids. Okay. So let's do, you want to do the blue? Let's do it. That one is, what is it? I think I know the name of it is Roses. Let's see how that one opens up in Affinity. Let's see, Roses. Then that way we get to show them something a little different, because I know we worked on that one yesterday. I think I should just pull it into Affinity. Let's see what happens. Maybe. Uh-oh, starting to think, starting to breathe hard. Oh, are we doing an all over or 13 by 19, Veronica? That's a good question, because it'd probably be a smaller file size if we're doing 13 by 19. Gotcha. Okay, let's try that one. And that way I can open it up straight from here. And let's type in Roses. Every time I think about Roses, I think about the song by Outkast. I know maybe it's not so appropriate about Mother's Day, but I was singing this the other day and my niece was like, "What are you singing?" And I was saying the part of the song, was it Roses really smell like boo boo hoo hoo. Anyways, I was tickled and she was confused, but I don't know why that sticks in my head automatically. I think it was also because of the message. Yeah. Oh boy. Here we go again with my little let me see, do I have this one in Affinity? I don't think so. Nope. So we'll make it Affinity tonight. Alright. So first and foremost, let me bring up what it's supposed to look like. I'm just dropping in a little JPEG here, and then we'll clean it up. I keep forgetting Control T in this program. Oh, it was trying to open the all over. All right, Affinity. We don't need you right now, but thank you. All right. Make it a little bit bigger so that I can see how I can best replicate my my text effects. And I think we can get pretty close. I just hate when I have to redo my metallics and stuff. So, Veronica, you like this color blue, like the lighter blue? I know. But it's teaching me how to teach y'all. So I can't be completely mad, but sometimes I do. I get a little upset. Alright, so let's see if I turn on that blue, if it saves it for me. Or what's going on. Because Affinity likes to make me feel like it listened to me, but then kind of does its own thing. But you know what? This is the Dunkin' one. We're going to go back to this one. That's the original template. Guess I just kind of jumped the gun waiting because I was waiting for it to search and I just picked the first thing. And I want to make sure I choose the right template. Because it will update. So once I save this, it'll update. So anyone else after this that needs the Affinity version, it'll be cleaned up and ready for you. Okay, there it goes. All right, so we have the blue in the background there. And it looks like what it didn't do was appropriately change the roses in the front, but that's cool. I need to simplify this for y'all too. Because although I love to give y'all all of this extra, I think it causes a little confusion. Go ahead and, I think I can merge, yeah, I can merge down on this. And I'm just rasterizing these now. Because Affinity does try to save smart objects now. I will give it that. It hasn't successfully done it in a lot of instances. It ends up stretching my images out and stuff. But I will say that it's making strides. It's getting there, but it's not quite there. But I will tell you one thing. It is the most powerful program for the cost. So I will definitely give it that. I'm merging down these roses because they get a little bit confusing with how many layers there are. Well, now wait a minute. I'm sitting there merging stuff down and then it's doing something crazy. So we may not be able to simplify it. Old Affinity. Alright, well, we'll keep it complicated. No worries, Affinity. Okay, now there is a gradient fill here, but obviously it is not applying to my roses. So I want this gradient to apply to this group of roses. But what it's doing is not that. So we just placed it below it. Let's see here. And I know I did this last time, but I had to do it to each of the sets of roses, and I did want to have to do that. I want to make it something that's universal. That is not working when I'm trying to rasterize this and it's not doing what I want. Okay, there we go. So rasterize it. So I have to group it again, but it's in there. Now I should be able to drag this gradient fill layer underneath my pixel layer and then indent it over to the right, and then it clips inside of that path. So it can't do the complicated layers of the levels with the multiple images and then clipping the color to the whole group. Well, as far as I know it anyway, without having to pull that color to each individual one of those smart objects or layers. So I just made it one complete object there, and now we're able to play with our color. So now I can ask you, this is the blue that we're going to work with? And Danica, my preference is Photoshop, but it's $9.99 a month, and I try to encourage you to share, share a seat with someone because you get 2 seats. So if you happen to want to do Photoshop and not want to put out the $10 a month, you can go in the groups. There's a buddy system kind of deal where it's just a post where if someone has a seat or needs a seat, they'll put have or need, and you all can cash out one another. Whoever has the subscription, you have to have the email and the password. Make the password something you don't mind sharing, something that's not like any of your other passwords, and then that way you can kind of share the responsibility of that subscription. And then eventually you might need both seats because you have 2 computers at the house that you want to use Photoshop for. So that's my suggestion. I have Affinity. It's very affordable. I think it's at regular price about $50 for each seat. So each computer is $50, but it's a one-time fee instead of a monthly fee. However, Affinity has some limitations, but for the most part, it does what you need it to do. It's just really difficult sometimes for me to turn my templates into Affinity templates from Photoshop. So you can see where my bias kind of lies. Okay. But good question. All right, good deal. So we're going to go rock with this color, and then let's go ahead and make sure that our roses at the top, we do the same thing. So let me find out where they are, and let's go ahead and expand that. That whole group is together. Let me see if I can rasterize it. Preserve layer effects. Now, what layer effect do I have on there? Probably, knowing me, I have like a drop shadow or something in there. Knowing me. And it might just be that mask. So let's see what it looks like. Right click, and I'm going to rasterize that. Preserve layer effects. Now we'll take them off. Rasterize. And let's turn it off, turn it on. Yes, it did it as an entire group. So those were the roses. For the right, and I'm going to bring this blue layer above. Maybe not. And then the roses on the left sleeve. think it just had maybe a drop shadow on it or something. I don't even think it has that. So let's do the same thing. Let's come here and let's rasterize that. I'll take off preserve layer effects because I just want to make sure I have my roses. And I see what's going on here. There is a layer mask on here to fade off where the roses are, but it's not working properly in Affinity from my Photoshop one. So let's see if I just delete that gradient fill. There we go. And then I'll just bring my gradient fill from my other one. That is the beautiful thing. Once you create it one time, you can borrow from those elements. And so the roses that we have at the bottom, we can grab that gradient fill. And I don't know if I can alt click and drag, so I'm just going to hit duplicate. And then I'm going to take that and pull it underneath that roses layer and make sure I indent it. And now it has clipped to that set of roses. And I'll do the same thing for the other set of roses. So that was the left sleeve. Now for the right sleeve, I'm going to grab that gradient. I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to come in here and drag it over to the right. So we're almost there. Thank you for helping me get this Affinity template together. All right, so now let's go to our text and make sure. And this one we're not going to do in Love and Memory, but let me go ahead and edit the text how it needs to be edited first. And then at least we'll have one version of it like it's supposed to be. Then we'll modify it to say whatever we want to say. So let's take a look again at the original image, how it's supposed to look from Photoshop. Okay, and let's see, remember I told you in Affinity it won't let you do multiple strokes. So you see how I'm always doing multiple strokes. I'm always showing out, and to my own dismay. So we have a clear or a transparent fill or color overlay. And then we have a gold stroke, a black stroke, a white stroke, and a drop shadow. So let's see if we can duplicate that. Let's go to In Love and Memory. And it should be, this is all text. Yes. Now, one thing Affinity does do, if you go to your settings and you happen to open a Photoshop template, it is preserving the text as long as you have the settings correctly. Let's see. Okay, so we don't need, long live is fine how it is. For anybody that might need that one on there, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this text up. So let's click on the effects. So we have a choice to do only one outline. So what I'm going to do is start with the gold outline. So I'm going to bring this radius down a little bit. And I'm going to change this fill style from solid to gradient. And I have a little gold that I made in there. So it won't be exactly the same, but you'll get the same effect. So we'll say okay to that. And I have to turn off my outer shadow because I'm going to have to do this multiple times. So you add the shadow to the very last layer. So we can go ahead and close that one out. Now what I have to do is I have to group this, put it in a folder. So I'm going to hit group layer. So now that Terry Lynn is in a group, and now to that group I can add a stroke. And this is how I used to have to do in Photoshop a long time ago before they came out with doing multiple strokes, and I got spoiled. So the second stroke we're going to do, we're just increasing. You see how we're increasing the size here? I think, what did I do? Did I do black then white? Let's see. Nope. This one I did white, then a black drop shadow. But the black looks good too. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to keep the black. So now, since we only have one outline and a drop shadow, I can do one outline and then I can do a drop shadow. Like I said, of course, I have to show out. I can't just let it be regular. I'm going to bring this opacity up too so I can see what I'm doing. There it goes, finally showing up. So I kind of like it with the black outline. I think I'm going to keep it that way. And anybody that wants to change the outline can go right here to outline, go to color, and slide it to white. Bring that radius down just a tad bit. And then we pretty much have that same effect. But yeah, I think I like the black. Alright, so that's good. And I can't really copy and paste layer styles like we do in Photoshop with the right click, but I can, now that I have this together, I can come over here to my styles and I can add a style from the selection. And if I scroll all the way down, it should have saved my style. But what's weird is that this is really two styles. So you have the inside of the text has a style, and then the group has its own effects. So really all it did was add an outline and a drop shadow. But we'll be able to replicate that in the future. So I want to say In Love and Memory is the same. Nope, I'm lying. So In Love and Memory and Hall are the same. So this one we have a transparent fill. And that way it lets the background show through a little bit. It is a little harder to read. So if you prefer to have the text where it's bolder, then definitely do this effect. But we're going to recreate it so that when people see that template, they pretty much understand they're getting the same thing. So right now it does have the transparent fill, which I'm surprised that it did that. Let's see, we need an outline. But we need that outline to be a gradient in gold, and then we need to bring the radius down. Okay, we're starting to look like the Photoshop version now. And just like I told you before, so we have to take the outer shadow off and close this out. And then we have to group the word Hall. So we'll group it, Control G. So Control G works in Photoshop and Affinity. And then we're going to add an effect, which is a stroke. Now I keep saying stroke. It's called stroke in Photoshop. Here it is called an outline. And let's increase that radius till it looks about how we had it before. And yeah, this was the problem it was giving me before because it strokes on the inside and the outside. And then I had it as white, but I think this black is really making it pop. Now I had a drop shadow, but this drop shadow might act a little bit differently since it's open face and it's creating this drop shadow from the group. So as of right now, I'm just testing out to see what the drop shadow does. And it's not bad, but it's definitely not doing exactly what it did in Photoshop. But I can say that that still works. So we have the drop shadow here. I would have to put the drop shadow as a layer style. And then I would also have to do a layer style for the word Hall. So I would have to add that as a separate layer style. So that when I come up to In Loving Memory, I can put the outline layer style on it first, and it didn't give me the thickness that I want, so I'm going to go into that effect, go to my outline, and change the radius there. Then the next thing I'll do is group it, so Control G. And then once we have that group, we'll choose this style, which should be showing, but it wasn't. And again, the scale of the outline is a little bit off, so we have to modify that to be what we want it to be. And let's modify the shadow as well. I'm just not liking how the stroke goes on the inside as well. There has to be something. The fill knocks out the shadow. There has to be something to this. Let me see if I can figure it out. So for the text, I'm going to my effects. The fill opacity is set to 0. If I set it to 100, of course, I don't see the outline on the inside. But there has to be something. In Photoshop, there is a setting to change the blending options. But here, it just lets you do the blend mode for each effect. But it's not, what I want to change is whether one layer or effect knocks out the next layer effect. And it's not giving me that option here. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and fill it. That way we don't get the transparency, but I don't like, for this script font, I don't like seeing the inside stroke that way. It is bothering me. So what we'll do is we have a fill, and let's do a color overlay for that fill. I was thinking maybe this would do something, but it doesn't. Or maybe it could if I did. No, it's just going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to pretend like it's filled in, and at the very least I can do, you can do a gradient overlay. Let's do what we have for Lynn. Now this is where I was telling you we can copy and paste the layer style of the text and the group. We can do it for Lynn. And where are we? There we are. So we'll take the layer style from the text, add it to the selection, and then from the group, and add that style from the selection. So I'll know the text is first and then the group. Alright, so we have the in-level memory. Let's select the text style first. That's the text style, and then we'll group it. And it looks like it's already grouped, and then we'll paste the layer style. And now we'll just adjust it so that it's as thin or as thick as we want it to be. So you get a little bit of first hand with Affinity tonight. I'm not mad at that. Let's close that down. Let's do the effects for the drop shadow here, or it's called the outer shadow in Affinity. And I'm trying to match what's down there. Okay, and I always zoom out a little bit just to see how it looks when we zoom out. And that looks good. So I'm going to save that one. And of course, we're going to do an alternate version. So I should be able to duplicate this entire group here. Right click and duplicate. I'll turn off the previous layer, and then we'll edit this one to be what you want it to say, Veronica. And if we need to change any styles, just let me know. All right. Oh, I'm back on the website. I was looking at y'all's messages over there. And go ahead and close that one out. Okay, so what do we want to put on this one? Do we want to put any particular text, maybe a quote, an expression, something that you're thinking of? And while you're thinking of that, I'm going to go ahead and pull together the images. And what I'm going to try to do is get one of each of the babies, or the big babies. All right, so I'm going to bring the images over here, and my greatest blessings. Gotcha. And these pictures. Call me Mama Bear. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's such a pretty picture. All right, so I'm going to figure out what picture we use for the main mom photo, and then we'll get all the babies. These babies are so beautiful. Okay, so let's see. And some of them have multiple siblings in the photo. So I saw that. There's 1, 2. I've seen, and I'm trying to see if I have a like standing photo of each of them, because then we can kind of put them together and they'll look cohesive. But if we only have like profile shots of certain ones, then we'll go with all profile shots. So yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think about, maybe like 9, 10, not as many as I've had before. So like, for instance, if we were to use this one has 2 of the babies. This is 1, 2. So that's the same young man. And then, forgive me if I'm trying to make sure that I get everybody. So that's profile pic. So I think we have enough to where we can get everyone like standing. There are 5. Okay, so this is the same one that's in the formal apparel, right? So I liked that picture. It was really pretty. And let's see, 1 or 2. Yeah, let's help Veronica out. So the front shot or the 3/4 shot for this one. I just like seeing the sweet faces. So I think most everybody is forward facing. So let's do this one. Oh, that's your army baby. You have a couple of army babies, don't you? There's 1. Okay. So we have 1 out of 5. And then this, I think, this is she has a gorgeous smile. Let's see. I'm trying to see how these all, because you got to kind of imagine the composition before you put it together. So I'm trying to make sure everybody has like the same type of, and they don't have to have the same angles, because we can always, like you said, crop them in, and that works too. Okay, so this one definitely, I like this one. Is that the youngest? Is that her? Let me know if I'm tripping. She growing up on you? Okay. Now, I know like this one better then, because we can crop that one and it'll have a nice little formal look to it. So we'll replace that one with this one. Yep. And I just want to make sure I download 1 of each so I don't confuse myself in the process. And Let's see, we get one without sunglasses because nobody's going to have on sunglasses. And I'm trying to think, this one, it has a hand on the shoulder, but it kind of matches the formal look from the others. So let's go. And this one's nice too because basically it's just a black shirt. So we'll go with this one. This will be easy. We don't have to crop anything out. So that's 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. And then we have one of her with no braces. So you probably want the ones with the braces off. You know, they'd be proud of the braces coming off. So this one is 4, right? Is that the baby that's going to the army? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So this will be 4. And let me know if I'm wrong now. Wait a minute. I'm missing something. So are these aren't the same kids? Veronica, let me know, are these two the same or are they siblings? Because they look very strikingly similar, but I don't want to just be over here tripping. So I'm not tripping, but I'm kind of tripping. Okay, so we use this one because it looks like he's ready to go to the army. You try to use the young picture of him, you know he wasn't gonna have that. You know how boys are. Once they develop a little bit, they don't want the young pictures of him anymore. So we'll give him his Army Strong picture, okay? All right, so that's 4 then. So all I have to do now is pick the one for our beautiful curly hair, love. Let's see. I think I like the best one for that. And this is what I do. This is why y'all can't send me a bunch of pictures because I have to like really strategize. And if you just send me one picture of each kid, then I can, just go with whatever. But when I do this, I tend to get a little complicated. So, this one. All right, so that should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Veronica, let me guess. Mom? Got your curly girl. All right, so let's have some fun now with Remove BG and see how much time this will potentially save us. Oh, did you? Well, you did perfect then, because that's the one I went for. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's pull in the photos now. I'm going to my folder where I saved everything. I'm going to pull one at a time into my Remove BG. 1, good deal. 2, good deal. 3, clean. 4, perfect. And 5. Beautiful. And then we need our gorgeous mom because she's the reason for it all. Amen. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so let's download these files one at a time. I'm downloading the high resolution, so within the file you'll also have the high resolution PNGs for participating. So thank you, thank you. And 2 more. And we'll probably end up fading off the bottom of the images. So we're not going to worry about like if the text is on there or if it cut out, you know how it cut out this little area here. We won't have to worry about that. Last one, our curly girl. Let's get it. And you got some good resolution images too. So thank you for that. Thank you for sending extras too. So we were able to pull them all together. And a whole army family. I'm telling you, you have an army family and army as a family. That's the way to roll. I'm telling you. Okay, so let's see. Get our text here reset. My greatest blessings. So let's go to our text here. And you know what? I did all of that in this text. Oh, the reason why this text isn't editable is because it was arched. So that makes plenty of sense. So I'm going to take the Terry Lynn here. And I'm going to alt-click and drag. And we're going to edit this text because obviously I did all of that. And that's no bueno. So we'll delete it. Alright. So for this one, the one up top, I'm going to pull out of this group because I want it to be, well, we can keep it in the group because it's going to have the same styling, so that makes sense. So just click here and then we're saying, I forgot just that quick. I remember we said something about Mama Bear. What did we say? Did we say my greatest blessings? Oh, no wonder I lost some of my window when I'm scrolling. Let's see. Yep, my greatest blessings. So I'm just going to copy that from the chat there. Paste it in here. And we'll capitalize B. There should be a way to arch in here. I'm positive there is. I don't know if I have to do it as a type on a path or we'll leave it like that for right now just so I make sure I get all my text here. And then call me Mama Bear. Not Mama Bee, Mama Bear. We'll just pull this in a little bit. You see the roses. And I'm probably going to end up pulling this down a little bit because I know we have quite a few pictures. So we'll see how the pictures flow. And now at this point, we should be able to take our existing photo here and go ahead and turn this layer off. And we can even turn off the background if you don't. Let me know if you want to keep that on there. By the time we put these photos on here, I don't think you're going to have a background. Let me spell blessings right. I think I type too fast when I'm typing double letters, so they don't pull up. Or did I copy and paste that one? Yeah, but it's cool. That's another lesson to do your spell check. So go up to edit. And see, in Photoshop, it's edit and check spelling. So let me see if we have the same thing here. Here we go. Let's go to text and see if it has check spelling. Yep. So text and spelling in Affinity. And then we could check spelling. And obviously I got something hanging off over there that's misspelled. I don't even know what it is. Oh, my Innate Lab. Of course Innate Lab is misspelled. Yeah. So of course we won't worry about that. I'm just showing y'all how you can do your spell check there. That it is a feature that's available in a graphic program. And it looks like I have a layer mask that's revealing some of the original color there. So let me see where that is. And it looks like we need to bring that gradient fill that we did before. We'll duplicate it and bring it down here to this level, because before it had a little image area that was hollowed out so that the stairway to heaven would show up. So let me show you that example. Let me turn back the heaven clouds background. And if we were doing the pink, it just allows the inside part to be blue. So I'll leave the pink one on there. I'll take the blue one off because the blue one is pretty much already blue. So no need of confusing anyone. So we'll have our full blue. And then we'll have the blue and pink option. So if we wanted our roses back pink, we could do that. All right, we have everything blue. Let's see, let's start bringing the babies in. Let's drag them in from the folder. We've got our PNGs, 6 of them. And I should have made sure I was all the way at the top. Okay, so Affinity is going to bring them all the way to the top. And I think I might have brought in one that was not the PNG. So get rid of that. Make sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. And I don't know my placement yet, but I'm just going to start playing around with it. So I'm keeping my aspect ratio. I don't have to hold down shift or anything. I'm just pulling on this corner and making it a little bit smaller. And like I said, we'll end up fading off the bottom of the images too. So we'll be able to tile these a lot better. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We'll bring her to the front so her hair could kind of hide where we're going to fade off the bottom here. So I'm thinking 5 will probably be able to do 2, 2, and 1 somewhere. That's my idea. And then we'll do mom in the center. And I don't know if you have a certain order that you have to do them in, so nobody feels like anybody's the favorite. I know how that goes. Let me know if we have to do, a certain, like, by age or anything like that. Or if they're just cool kids and they all know that they're all number ones. So they don't get picky about who's standing next to who and who's closest to mom. You probably miss those days. Whereas all of them, and you're sitting on the sofa somewhere, on the bed somewhere, and all of them want to be next to you, and then they're fighting over who's right next to you. All right. Just laying out, and I have no particular way that I'm doing this right now other than just trying to use my own little bit of logic here. Now I could do like t-shirts at the top and formal wear because they're 2 formal and 3 t-shirts. So we can keep it mixed up like this, or the way it is right now, it's black shirts in the back and then lighter colors to the front. I always have to find some type of pattern. Don't mind me. Alright, so now that I have everything pulled in, I can see what you're saying. Oh, okay, yeah. So they know the favorite. Alright, so let's go ahead. So we won't put him dead center, because if we put him dead center, then they're going to know he's the favorite. But let's see. We could put him over the left chest, so it'd be like he's on your heart, and then they don't know why. What do you think about that one? So whenever you say your Pledge of Allegiance and you're wearing your shirt, your hand will be over your heart, and then that's where he'll be. All right, so let's go ahead and do a layer mask and start fading these things off. So let's grab our paintbrush here. And just like in Photoshop, we have a layer mask. I'm on the layer mask. I have to make sure I have black selected. One thing I do like about Affinity, it is previewing what it's going to do before I do it. So see how it's showing me that if I brush over that area, it's going to disappear? That is really cool. So we'll go to, see the next image here. Let's add a layer mask. And let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can see what I'm doing. In this process, you kind of have to keep zooming in and out to see what you're working with. So I'm on the layer mask, not on my image, and I'm just going to paint away kind of about the same amount so that I can make sure they're about the same size. And this is why I usually have my phone turned off. The computer's ringing. Alright, let's do formal picture if I can click on it. The brothers are in the way. Let me get to it from the layers panel. There we go. So now we don't have to fade her off because I think the image is going to cover her up. So we'll see about that. If I see hard lines, y'all know I stop them before I print. And I figure out where those hard lines are coming from and we fix those. So what I'm doing right now, I'm bringing our curly hair baby to the front. And see how we kind of do a little overlapping. Let's go ahead and add a layer mask to this one. And let's see, one more to do a layer mask for the red dress. And for this one, you have a choice. You can fade off the entire bottom, or you can leave the hand, since I think it's all, nope, the whole hand isn't there. I was going to say if the whole hand was there, you can leave the hand and just fade off the bottom here. So we added our layer mask. Just do a little fade off. And then we shall bring Mom to the front. This is her day. And these are her creations. Let's do a layer mask on Mom and fade this off on the edges. See a little bit of hard line over here on the right hand side. And then this way we can bring all of these photos back down to the photo layer, and then we'll see how as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and group those, all the photos, and bring them down to the photo layer. And then this way we can move them all as a group. Yeah, like I said, by the time we put all the kids on there, you don't even need the background. Alright, so we got that locked in, and let's do a little resizing of the main image. And then that way we can put the words "Call Me Mama Bear" down a little bit lower. And I'm just naming these layers so when you go to them, you'll know what they are. Because I have no doubt that you'll be using this in the future. And let's do something with Mama Bear, because I feel like, where's my Mama Bear? I feel like the lack of this fill here is hurting us just a little bit. So we'll do color overlay. And we still have that outline in there. I just made it go inside instead of outside. And then as far as the color here, you don't have to go with the gold. You let me know what you want to do. If you want to go with the gold, or you want to do blue outline and take the gold out. I'm going to let your request kind of guide the process right now. Yes, we can. That's a great question. As a matter of fact, if we wanted to make it look like everybody pretty much had on like plain apparel that coordinated, let's go to this one. I'm going to do a layer on top of it so that I'm not messing up the image. So we'll do a new pixel layer. So add a pixel layer. And we're just going to paint on this layer. So I'll grab the paintbrush. I can use the color dropper here, and I have to hold, drag it where I want it, drop it, and then I have to click on the circle in order to select that as my color. So it's not quite black, it's a little bit of a grayish black here, and I'm just going to paint. Now this is more of a crude method. I'm trying to see if I can change the brush size, and I can't. Not that way. And then what I would do is, can I hold down Alt and pick a color? Is it picking colors? I think it is. Still have to select it, but now, I'm literally just painting this right now. This is not the typical way to do this. But this is not on my image either. This is on another layer. So then, what I can do is on my layering now, I can get really creative and just make sure I layer it enough to where you can't really tell that I painted over that. Now, there are clone tools and other techniques you can use. But I have not explored those quite yet. So I'm going to tell you, if you didn't have a clone tool, use your best tool that you know and that is your creative mind. So we'll make that work. And same thing here for Army Sister. Now there are other techniques. Let me show you some stuff we could do. If I did a freehand selection here, let's say that's got that wrinkle in there, so I don't know how that's going to work. But I could copy and paste, and then or it took the whole layer. I didn't need that. We just want to copy from this pixel layer. It's copying the whole thing. I guess it's because I have this layer mask selected. So let me see if I can just grab a little bit of this gray here. Not all of that. It's cutting the entire image, and that's not what I want. Let's see. I'm on new. Have that selected. Hit apply. I want just those pixels. It's doing the same thing. It's cutting the whole thing, and I don't want to do that. So this is probably something that I have to learn different in this program, because this is not doing for me like it does on Photoshop. Usually if I have a selection and then I copy it, it is going to immediately that's not doing what I wanted to do. Which is kind of sad because I really want to show you this. Let me see if I make a layer mask. So I made that a layer mask, and let me see if it will allow me to just deselect. So I'm moving this little piece around. Let's see if it will allow me to apply this layer mask, and maybe that's how I can make that happen. So I'm going to do rasterize to mask. Oh no, it did everything. Alright, well, we'll just move around this little piece right now then. So I was trying to be creative and show y'all how to do this, but this is feeling like more work than it's worth. Let me see. We just rasterize it. Okay. Don't know if that's the long way or if that's the real way, but since we're doing heather gray, I can't just show you to paint over it. It wouldn't look right because heather, you know, of course, has all of the different colors in it. So my aim is to cut out a piece of the shirt and use that pattern to cover up the lettering. And you'll see like there's some areas where it looks like it's repeating, and we'll go in and clean that up. But for the most part, I can do a layer mask here and get rid of, I need to make sure I have black selected now. Full black if I want to fully conceal. Okay, that's the one at the bottom. I'm on my layer mask. I'm just going to clean up that top. See how that top had that hard line? And this is why you charge more when you're doing like edits and stuff. First of all, this is going to take you some time to get comfortable with. I'm still not completely comfortable. Like doing this kind of stuff in front of people is a little intimidating. So this is stuff that you want to do, you know, not in front of a customer, i.e. like I'm doing right now. But take some time to do this on your own, and then if it's absolutely necessary, contract someone to clean up the photo for you and then charge a fee for that. Because people know that if you're asking them to change colors of someone's outfit or take out a crease in the photo or recolor it, anything like that, that it does require some additional work. And most people, even people that design t-shirts, can't Photoshop on that level. So give yourself what you do and charge accordingly. If you have to pay somebody else to do it, especially charge accordingly. So you see how we kind of made those words go away there? And now I can take all of these and group them. And I believe I can rasterize that as a group. And now that just sits right on top. I don't think I'm covering up anything major. We're good to go. And I can even drop that into that mask so that it kind of fades off the same. Awesome, I'm glad you like it. Okay, so let's see. How do you feel about the colors in the image? Do you want everybody to be wearing kind of black and gray, or are you okay with the pops of red with the blue? Because that's something else, if you know, if we really wanted to, I can show you how to do that. Sorry, it's just a delay. So whenever I'm watching for an answer, I'm trying not to get caught up doing the next thing. Good, good, good. Okay, so let's see. I think we need to arch this text was our next thing that we wanted to do. Yeah, I think putting them all in the back with the black too kind of made that black stand out really well. Now, one thing you can do is, and I will show you kind of over this group function. So I'm on a pixel layer, and I can't officially recolor. Oh yeah, you'll be able to change. You'll be able to swap the photos out. As a matter of fact, you can turn one off and pull another one in, that sort of thing. That way, if you have your camera and you want them all to take pictures in black shirts, which is probably what you're thinking next. Matter of fact, that would be a good request for Mother's Day. Tell them that you want to take pictures. Then that way you can kind of get them all together and do a new design and show them that that you did it. But I was just going to show you if you wanted to paint. Let's say I'm painting this layer black, and I'm being kind of a little bit sloppy here just because I want to show you how you can color something. You just change your blend mode. Instead of normal, let's change it to we do color here and see how it makes it gray. And I'm like I said, I'm being real careless with how I'm painting right now, because of course it's going over the hair and everything, and I would have to, usually what I would do for this is actually make a layer mask just for the coloring of the clothing, but sometimes I can get close enough without having to do all the extra. And you paint with black to conceal, white to reveal if you wanted to make this into a layer mask. So I colored it all, everything that I want black. I could even color your shirt black. And then where it has your hair, I would come back in let it be the hair color. So now you get to preview the all black look. Okay, so now I'm going to add a layer mask. And here I'm going to go in with the black on the layer mask. And I'm going to make I'm doing this with a mouse. This would be much easier if you had the Control-Alt, right-click, or Alt, right-click. Nope, it doesn't do it. I was trying to see if that allowed me to change my brush size like it does in Photoshop. But you can just as easily change it up here. And I'm painting back with the black on the mask because now the black is concealing the black mask that I just made. Or the black recolor layer. So I can bring back the skin tone there. And this might be much more fun if you're doing this sort of thing with the stylus, or even on the iPad. Some of you have Affinity or Photoshop on the iPad. It might even be therapeutic. You know, some people like to color on the iPads and stuff. This will be kind of one of those experiences. But I'm just adding the skin tone back. So all you have to do if you want your red back is just turn off this layer. Now it is a little difficult here where the red shows through the hair. There's a little trick that I have for that. And normally it's just to paint some more hair right there, fill it in, and then don't worry about it. But you're going to come up on instances where you have to be a little more precise with how the hair does. And there are so many tips and tricks just on how to cut and manage hair. Because hair is just one of those fickle things that if you don't do it just right, it looks photoshopped. So I'm adding my hair back, and then if I feel like my red is a little too strong, I can go back in with the white brush. So I just flip it, and now I have white selected. Make my brush a little bit smaller. And then I can add my black back. So as you can see, this could be a little bit of a tedious process. But this is a good practice too. Now the areas that I have red that are showing here, if I want to remove that red, I could do a whole nother layer. And this time I'll do an adjustment layer. And then I'll do one that says, let's do hue saturation, HSL. And I can take my reds and I can turn them all the way down. And for this one, I can do a layer mask, but this time the layer mask, what I want to do is I want my layer mask to be completely black. So I can fill it with the fill bucket, make sure I have black selected, fill it with the fill bucket. Oops, I was not on my mask, I don't think. There we go, had to bring it to the foreground. So I fill that with my fill bucket, and then I can go in with the white as my foreground color. And kind of choose where I want that red to be gone. And then of course you can paint it back with the yellow. So it's a lot that you can do here. So I'll come back with my new pixel layer, grab my color and grab one of the blonde colors here, click on that circle, and now that I have it black and white underneath it, I can start painting over it. And of course it looks a little crazy, but that's okay. I probably should have just done that from the beginning, just done the paint over method, because then I can change my blend mode to color. Where's color? Color, and see how it colored that red in? And then that's how I could do there as well. I got a little carried away. I was trying to be fast and show you the fast method. Let me go back. So that's pretty much what it looks like with everybody wearing black, if you were trying to figure that out. I don't know if I helped you decide whether you're going to do that or not. But it's there if you want it. If you don't want it, then you would turn off that pixel layer. You can turn off this pixel layer and turn off the adjustment here. So let me group those for you. And just put all black. So you'll remember that's what that is. And I'll turn them on. And then if you don't want them, you can turn them off. Here we go. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's see how we can do this arch text up here. So in Photoshop, when we arch text, we're typically doing it with a edit and warp, but I don't think it's going to be the same thing here. Let's see. Text styles. I know we can do type on a path. Let me see if I can find a quick guide to doing arch text on Affinity photo. So yes, I have to look up stuff all the time as well. And you know what? I think I've looked this up before and it was harder than it really had to be. At least back in the day. They might have on Affinity Photo how to type on a path, but I don't think it had the feature to arch the text. Arch or arc. No, I think it makes you turn them into curves. Yeah, I think it was Affinity Designer that did it, but Affinity Photo didn't. However, I know there's a way to do it. Oh, that's why it rasterizes the text that comes in from Photoshop Curve, because it does not recognize curving the text unless you convert it to like an image, and then you can manipulate it just like you would a photo, but then you lose the ability to type. So I'm going to keep it straight, that way it is editable and you can always change the words. And let me move my greatest blessings. Let's see. Let's move that one up a little bit since we can't curve it. But I think it still does well for the impact, but it probably would look a little bit better to be arched. Give it a little bit of detail there. So let's see. If I take that one and duplicate it, because I don't want to mess up my editable layer, so I'm going to duplicate it. Let's see if we can convert it to a raster. So we're going to rasterize it, preserve layer effects. Now I am going to tell it to preserve layer effects this time. And then let's see if I'm able to bend it. Let's see. Filters. I'll have to figure out what this particular operation would be to bend it. Would it be geometry? No. Since I can't figure it out, I'm gonna have to do a little research unless somebody on here has a suggestion. Let me check y'all out, see if y'all have any suggestions there. So it's in layers, curves. Let's see, layers. You saw curves in the layers? That's what I'm usually, well, I can't say usually, but in Photoshop it's under edit, and there is a transform function that allows you to transform in a few ways, and this is not doing the same thing for me. I was thinking that this would even, with the updates, it would even allow us to curve the text, but I don't see that. I probably have to do a little research because, as you know, there's not a lot of video and like tutorial content for Affinity. So the most we can do is really, go to the help file. I forgot to tell you that. That's how I learned Photoshop. At the time, there wasn't a lot of resources for me either because I was in high school and we just had what we had. So I learned from the help files. I learned how to do everything I could do from the help files. So normally you can type something in, and let's just look up curve. Okay, somebody else looked up curve text. Let's see. Use the shape text to contain text within a curve or shape. Wait a minute, where would that be? Oh, to contain it within a curve or shape. So this is like when you are typing a paragraph and you want it to take on the shape of whatever you're typing within. That's not exactly the same. Let's see. Well, use rasterization to convert vector shapes, lines, and text into pixels. So we rasterize it, but it's not telling me what to do to edit that. And I know there's a way to edit it. Show alignment handles. There's got to be a way to change this. So I'll do a little research. I'm not going to hold y'all up just based on that. But at least I will be able to save this. And y'all, I did not save this the whole time. Save as Affinity. So now we have an Affinity version of this one. And you'll be able to play with it a little bit more. But for the most part, you have something for tomorrow. You have something for Mother's Day. So I think we've been on this thing for 2 hours now. So I probably ended it there. I wanted to grab some more photos off of the post, but I don't think we're gonna have time for that tonight because I am getting sleep to the bee, and I still have some more work to catch up on and prep on tonight. So hopefully I can take tomorrow off, and I hope you all get some rest and get to take tomorrow off as well. Even if you can't enjoy it with your family, your loved ones, and your moms and mother figures, at least you'll be able to reflect and appreciate them. I don't know if we're, doing visits or we're still self-quarantining or whatnot. I know we are. But I wish you all the best. Happy Mother's Day. I usually celebrate Mother's Day with my dad because my dad raised me. So Mother's Day, we make him feel special and give him a big celebration, recognize him. But this also happens to be the day that he passed away. So May 10th is a bit of a hard day for me. So I will be taking it off and just reflecting. But I wanted to spend some time with you all so that I can let y'all know how special you all are to me and how I wanted to give back something that made you feel special or allowed you to give someone that you feel is special a little bit of attention and affection. So I really hope that you all learned something from this live. And let me know if there's anything further that you all want to learn and see. I'm working on a lot of different content. I'm also working on not just doing the one-on-ones, but doing some private sessions where it's like a small group setting. So we'll have a project to work on. We'll go through maybe twice a week, and we'll go through one part of a template or a project, and then you'll have homework, and then we'll come back the second session of the week and we'll go over what we were supposed to do and what the next step is. And then that way I have people that are on a track and are learning pretty much at the same pace and learning the same features and things, and then we'll flip it around and then we'll end up having an advanced session and a beginner session. So I've been listening to y'all, and I know that that's the type of thing that you all probably want to see implemented. So I'm working on that. I'm working on a basically a teachable website that will allow me to create that type of content. So I'll still do my free content. I'll still get on live and hang out with you guys. But for those who want a more personalized experience and like real deal homework and things to do, accountability, that sort of thing, we'll run it just like an online class. And it'll probably be something like, subscription based. I'm thinking like the first group will probably be like $37 a month, which is, a steal because it's going to be a test group for me. Okay. So once I get my test group in, I probably will be charging more for that. But I want you all to, help me understand what it is that you need to see on the one-on-one basis. So the first group will probably be no more than 10 people, and we'll try it out for that 1 month, see how far we get with the progression. And then I'll still do one-on-ones and I'll still have advanced processes that I can do with you all, but we'll have a single group that we can start with. So when I do announce that, I'm sure those slots will fill up very, very quickly, and I will let the Innate Creatives group know first. So if you're in that group, the private Facebook group, then definitely keep your eyes peeled for that post. And Veronica, so for Affinity, I feel like I need to learn a little bit more of Affinity myself in order to teach it, because you see me, I'm learning right in front of you. It is easier for me to learn Affinity because I know Photoshop. So what I will probably have to do, and maybe I should do a test session right along with the Photoshop so I can see how many people really want to do Affinity, and it will let me know how far I need to get into learning it so that I can teach it, because I can teach a basic design on Affinity right now, absolutely. But the features that I want to do, like, some of the features I want to do, curved text, I guess I'll know that by the end of the night, more than likely. I won't sleep until I know it. But some of the other features I just want to get a little more comfortable with, but I think that would be a good idea to do an Affinity version as well. Oh, love, you're so welcome. Y'all are welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the Happy Mother's Day wishes. And Happy Mother's Day to you all too, and to your mothers. And if you have single fathers that raise you that celebrate Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day to him too. Yeah, Photoshop, you know what? This is what I would do, Veronica. If you have an opportunity to do the Photoshop class, and like you can get in as one of the first, which I'm sure you will be because you follow along, I would do it as a Photoshop course, because once you understand Photoshop, you can understand Affinity a lot better. So I think that will probably be the best case. Then that way I wouldn't have to do two different classes, which might stress me out a little bit. And then I can let people branch off into Affinity and see, well, what are your questions in Affinity now that you know Photoshop? What are the things that are irking you? Like how you have to do clipping paths in Affinity is a lot different from clipping paths in Photoshop. To do the multiple strokes is different in Affinity than Photoshop. And smart objects, I think they're implementing smart objects now, so I would like to see how that carries out. So that makes sense, and then that way maybe we can find you someone, Veronica, that has a seat, so you only have to pay $5 a month. That's another thing we're going to look out for in this session type of group, is we're going to see, hey, does somebody have an extra seat? Because if you're paying $10 a month for Photoshop and only using it on one computer, then we should be able to look out for one another. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. So, and I'm really ready to do this because so many of you are so timid about Photoshop, and you're buying the templates. I can see y'all buying the templates, and maybe you're a little apprehensive about using them right now because you might feel a little overwhelmed. So I want, the first thing that we're going to do is learn how to knock out templates. That's the easiest part of Photoshop, is learning how to reverse engineer somebody else's work. Okay, that's the easiest thing. And then we'll get into some more of the details of how you would actually start laying out your own graphics, typography, advanced photo editing techniques like we did today, covering up the shirt and adding hair to the top of the head when somebody's top of the head is cut off by the photo. Those sort of advanced techniques I definitely want you all to learn. So, but we'll start small. The first thing we're going to start with is how to edit these templates. And I know it sounds like teaching the same thing, but we'll do much more concentrated one-on-one or 1 to 10. But I'll be able to see what you're doing and give you feedback in real time. So I think that'll be definitely helpful. All right, loves. Rona tells me good night. I know she's ready. She's ready for bed. Y'all have a good one, a blessed one, and thank you for spending this evening with me. I will probably check back in with y'all, if not by Monday, then Tuesday, because I might need an actual real day off. We'll see. But in the meantime, y'all keep being creative. Keep those creative juices flowing. Be safe and be healthy. Love you all. Good night. Yep, you're welcome. Good night.